welcome to the Hollow Bone with Phoenix. And if you're new to this, if you've never been on this show before, being the hollow bone means being the channel or the conduit for source energy, where healing, messages, guidance, and miracles can come through. So every week on the show, you can expect to hear live channelings that open your heart and lift your energy, or conversations with visionary leaders walking their own path of alignment, or healing transmissions that flow directly through the hollow bone. So whether you tune in live or listen to the archives, every episode is a chance to receive guidance, expand your awareness, and align more fully with the miracles that are waiting for you. So today, I am so blessed to have with us Mike Sutton. So Mike is happily retired from the State of Michigan Department of Natural Resources, where he served as a park manager for over 30 years. Now, he started his writing career in 2022 after the death of his beloved wife of 43 years, and is currently a contributing author in different series and anthologies, including the best-selling Mission Hope series. He loves writing for enjoyment and sharing support on different platforms such as Bizcatalyst 360. His goal is to be the best parent he can be and to help others who are struggling with loss, helping them to see that there is healing through God's love and beauty that has been placed in our world. So welcome, Mr. Sutton. It is such a delight to meet you in person.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Oh, we're just so happy to have you. And there's so many things to talk to you about. Now, first of all, please accept my condolences on the loss of your wife. That must
Thank
have
you.
been just a black hole on your soul when that happened. It's just grief that is awful. So, but the beautiful thing about it is that it inspired you to turn pain into support, right? And that began your writing career 2 years later.
It did. And that was a surprise because writing had never been anything in my window. You know, it just was not something that I ever looked at or was interested in.
So, what was the inspiration there? I mean, what made you say, okay, I'm going to do it now?
I really, it just one day something just said, you got to put this down.
Yeah.
And I had the title and then I had nothing. And a few days later, every chapter title came and then followed by every page. And
Oh,
so everything was written on my cell phone because I might be an outside or in the woods when they came, and I just wrote everything as it came.
oh my goodness.
So
And go ahead.
that is still the way that I write. I don't
One,
ever sit down at a computer screen and write.
yeah.
It's all done on my cell phone whenever it hits me. I don't set and plan it. I don't see it before time. It just when it comes, I write.
Ah, it's so beautiful to be that hollow bone for your writing. It's effortless, it's easy, and it's always great, right?
Well, I appreciate that.
And what was the title of that first book?
First one was To Lose a Soulmate.
Yeah.
And basically what it was we started as a blind date. So it was our life from the first blind date to the last dance.
Oh my goodness, how
And then,
poignant.
to let others know that there is life afterwards. It's not the same life, nor can you expect it to be, but it is life, which is something to be thankful for.
Yeah.
And I found that I could see some sort of beauty, not in her passing, but because of her passing,
Yeah.
that made her passing easier to take.
Oh.
I still talk with many people who are grieving,
Mhm.
and it doesn't take long for me to be right back in that same spot.
Oh,
It never goes away.
no.
I look at it, and I was telling someone the other day, it's as if you painted a hole or a manhole was in front of me as I walk. I've constantly got to walk around the perimeter. I never dare walk across it because I know what it's going to be.
Yeah, the abyss, right?
Yep.
Whew. And then 2 years later, you wrote another book.
Yes, and that one was more fun for me.
Oh,
I
good.
mean, I enjoyed both of them, but the first one that was hard for me to even read it. To this day, it's still hard. The
Yes.
second one was the writings that occurred to me in the wee hours of the night or in the middle of the day out in the woods, and they're just thrown in the book random. But the gift to me through it all, and that I wanted to share, was after a while, my wife had been gone, and I started to get life back to normal and cleaning, and I found little writings that she had done. They'd be stuffed in a shirt drawer, stuffed in my sock drawer, in a silverware drawer, and I had enough. I think there was over 20 or 30 of them that I actually put in this book as our last efforts together.
Oh,
And
that's
that
just,
made it special to me. And so I titled it For Him, For Her, For Them, which would
oh,
have been my wife and my kids and my God.
oh, that is so beautiful. And how healing that book must have been for you. Oh,
Very, very much so. And today, to be able to see healing going on in others,
mhm,
it I, there's no pride in it, there's no glory in it, but there's a warmth to it
mhm.
that, it's like, I'm not glad for any of us that have had to go through this, but to see somebody else being able to survive it, that means a lot.
Yeah. And I'm sure your words help them, whether they're written or spoken. When you've been there yourself, you know more of what to say that they need to hear. Hmm.
Yeah. 2 weeks ago, I went back to the bookstore where I sell a lot of the Mission Hope books through.
Oh,
And
nice.
when I walked in, the store owner was standing there waiting for me.
Oh,
I thought, this is kind of odd. He says, I need to talk to you. And I said, well, you have my phone number. No, he said, I need to talk to you here.
oh,
So I asked him what it was about. His wife had died um, late September, I believe it was.
wow.
And so he went through the whole story, and I was probably there 3 hours.
Oh, yeah.
But he couldn't tell it to somebody else who, a lot of people say, "Oh, I feel so sorry for you," or "I can do." He said, "It's not real."
No.
He said, "When I talk to you," he said, "I know you are feeling exactly what I'm feeling."
Yeah.
And he said, "I went back through." He said, because he read the books that I put there initially.
Yeah.
He said, "I went back through and I read To Lose a Soulmate," and he said that had a lot more meaning to me the third time through.
Ooh.
And he just wanted to thank me for putting it in his store.
Oh,
And it's like that. If I only had those 3 hours that day, that was all I needed.
yeah.
That was wonderful.
Yes. Just to know you've made that difference. Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah. When you can see somebody hurting and yet a smile can come through, even if it's a weak one,
Yeah.
that's a major thing.
That's a miracle, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Hmm. And you've been a contributor to the Bizcatalyst 360. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Um, that one there, I got interested in that one through a friend on Facebook.
Hmm.
There are two sites on Facebook that I write for pretty regularly, and that's Dirt Road Storytellers and the Writers Cafe. And
Ah,
the owner of those sites calls me up and he said, "Hey, I think you would be interested in doing this. You need to contact this fella." So I sent him a couple of stories and I was in. Lately, because you need to go through the Bizcatalyst, and a good portion of the results from the writings come back through LinkedIn.
okay.
With everything else that's going on,
Yeah.
I rarely have time to manage all of it. So sometimes the LinkedIn gets pushed aside a little bit. But I still, if when I have time, I still like to send in a couple of stories at a time and let them put them in their queue and see what happens to them.
Wow. So, on the Biz Catalyst, how does that work exactly, though? I'm kind of unclear about it. Is it just a place where you're invited to share your writings and then they'll post them for you? Is that how it works, or?
Um, you contact, it's the actual owner of Bizcatalyst.
Hmm.
Him and his wife are the editors, chief editor of the whole organization. I believe that those writings in that magazine form goes out over 75 countries.
Good Lord.
Yeah, it's huge. And so
Wow.
when you're on there, there's people from all over, just as the writers are from Mission Hope, from all over.
Right.
But you're reaching. a far bigger crowd.
Right.
And to get comments back from across the world,
Yeah.
that's like, who would have ever guessed, without all this new electronics that we could do this type of thing.
I know that's
So
another
it's
miracle.
it is, yep. But in order to get in, you contact the editor in chief, and he'll ask you for a couple of of your writing samples, and it goes from there.
Oh, isn't that amazing?
Yeah,
Look at how you have blossomed in just a very short amount of time here as a writer. I mean, this is how the hollow bone works. When the divine has something in mind, it will make it happen. Right.
and that's the big thing, is realizing that it's not on our own.
Right.
That if it wasn't for God and his higher workings, who knows where we'd all be. you
Absolutely.
know
Absolutely. And so, how did you meet Shar and Dominic with the Mission Hope series? Because you've been there all along, like every book in that series you have contributed to.
I have. It was a strange meeting with my first meeting with Shar. I was just putting. I didn't know what Facebook was. My wife played games on Facebook. That was it.
Oh,
She never communicated. Just she played games with certain people. So a while after she had passed, I had to do something with Facebook, and these stories were coming. So I'll just put one on there. And after a while, I got a message from this lady named Shar wanting to know could she call me, and I thought that's kind of strange. So I asked my daughter. I said, what are you doing? She says, oh, I don't know. I said, why don't you come on over today? So while she was here, I went back on, and after Shard had my number and stuff, she called me. And the first call, I really didn't get to say a whole lot. I listened, and then she called back and she apologized. She said, I now I got that from my system. She said I can listen, but she had seen my writings online and thought that this would be a good match for what she had in mind.
yes.
And through her, then, uh, and the first book that we wrote, Mission Hope, Dom contacted me, Dominic,
Yep.
on a Saturday morning because his mother was in a bad way, and we talked for over an hour.
Oh,
And that was how I met him, was through Shar.
oh my gosh.
So it's just a growing family.
It's just one miracle after another, isn't it?
It is. Yep.
And that's why I loved your chapters in this version 6 book about miracles. And I think the first one that I read was often the overlooked miracle is exactly what we need. So let's talk about that because I think you're kind of well, these aren't overlooked, but these are definitely miracles that have been stepping stones for you just to open up to help more people, right? And so in your chapter, you had lots of examples of overlooked miracles. Let's talk about that a little bit.
I really, pretty much the way with all of the Mission Hope books, when the title comes out or the theme that we want,
Mhm.
I rarely have anything that, I mean, I'm just like a blank
Yep.
wall.
Yep.
And it might be a week or two, and then all of a sudden everything comes flooding in. And that's the way that book was. I just didn't have anything. I was about ready to tell Shar, hey, I'm sorry, but I got nothing. And then this nagging in the back of my head kept saying, you need to write, you need to write. And I thought, like, well, I don't know what to write. And then one night it just came to me. And it's like, there is something I can write, And I knew it was a feeling that I needed to write it.
Yeah.
And so as the words came, I wrote them down, and I never know what's going to be on my screen, on my phone, until I'm done.
I
And when I
can't
go
believe
back and look at it,
I can't believe you write this on your phone.
everything I've ever written has been done on my phone. And
Oh,
I'm a one finger typer.
well, me too. That's why I'm like, oh my gosh, it would take me forever.
No, I do it. I can be out snow plowing, and if the thoughts come, I just park on the side and put the lines down. Or at the middle of the night, I wake up, I put the lines down, and eventually everything kind of meshes, and make sense.
Yeah, well, that's how it reads. It reads like this, almost like water, you know? It kind of meanders, but it all flows and it's all together and it's all going to the same place. It's really quite lovely.
Well, with that book, I didn't plan it, but when I got through it, I was getting excited as I wrote each section.
Yeah.
And it was like I kind of had to pull back on my reins so I didn't give away the next paragraph, because
Oh,
it was exciting for me to look back and see how every theme of the Mission Hope series built on the last.
yes.
And as they built, they got bigger. And it's like, how have we written all of these with nobody noticing that this is a big deal?
This is a big
There's a miracle happening here that we're not even seeing.
deal. Yep.
And so as I went back through, it's like, well, this is kind of a no-brainer. Why didn't I get this before? And I just started putting it together, and when I got done, it came out. You know,
Yeah.
I was surprised, but it did make sense.
Oh, it made perfect sense. And I loved how you explained every version that has happened in the Mission Hope and how it, this is the primary theme, but then that led to this, and this was the primary theme, and then it was so succinct and so clear and a big picture. We always have a better perspective when we have the big picture of what
Right.
was happening there. And it was so perfect. I loved it.
Well, in the first couple paragraphs, uh, you know, I, I wrote this down, and I'll have to read it so I don't mess it up. But it says, I could recall the miracles, and in some cases, I even caught myself wiping away tears as my memory replayed them. But as hard as I tried to write them down, the words just would not line up in my mind or on the paper. However, I could not dismiss the obligation I felt to proclaim what God can do and has done, but to share that even though it may feel like we're fighting this battle of life alone, we're not, as God, the miracle maker, is always there.
Yeah,
And there are times when, and to me, I don't think it matters who it is. We all, at some point in our life, most of us we go through a period of where we're pretty hard, we're pretty tough, and we're not looking for help. We don't need help. We're not asking anybody, but how wrong we are.
yeah,
And all it takes is the right event, and everything comes crashing down.
yeah.
And when I think of that, and I think of the times that I've had the crashes, or I've seen other people come tumbling down, that I always thought, oh man, they got everything together. They're so tough. And it's like, no, we're all the same. It just hits us at different points in our lives.
Yeah. And in different ways too.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, so let's see, how did you phrase it? You said, I gotta get my glasses on, sorry. The overlooked miracle is exactly what we need. So, can you give some examples of that for like the audience that might be saying, you're talking about really obvious miracles, but what's an overlooked one?
As I wrote this, uh, the thought and the memory came back to me of a time when we had an ordeal happen that we didn't see coming. My daughter had come in from work like she always does at midnight, 12:30, and I could hear her car running, and I knew that in her earbuds she was still bebopping. You could see it in the way she walked and in her fast language, and everything was fine. She left, and 15, 20 minutes later, she's only 10 minutes down the road. I got a call, going to hospital. Cody is in the house, which Cody was her dog. She would never leave him alone. I thought, that's strange. Why would she not bring him here if she got called back to work?
Mhm.
And I told my wife, I said, something isn't right. It's it's still hard today.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right.
So I got up and I got dressed. I went down and I got Cody. But turning into her area where she lives down there on Lake Huron, she almost hit me coming out. She didn't realize it. So I picked him up brought him back to our house to my wife to take care of, and I went to the hospital. And like any parent, when you know something isn't right and things aren't looking like you're used to, I never gave thought about my speed in a 50 mile an hour zone. I was cooking along pretty good. And all of a sudden, this voice said, "Slow down. I got this." And it's like, what, what is this? And I looked down at my speedometer, and I hit 75, pushing almost 80. And it's like, well, this isn't good. And it came on again. It said, "I got this." So I slowed right down, and I just drove the speed limit. I got to the hospital. I seen her car in the parking lot, way out in the middle of nowhere, parked in the wrong direction and diagonally. And if it could have been any more confusing than it was, I don't know how it would have been. So I went into the hospital, and I'm thinking she'll be in the entrance emergency room. She was nowhere to be found. So I walked up to the window and I said, "Is my daughter here, Christina?" And they said, "You must be her dad, Mr. Sutton." I said, "Yes." Well, she made it into the doorway and she collapsed. So we took her right into emergency because they all worked with her. They knew her, who she was. And I said, "So what's wrong?" They said, she couldn't tell us. She was not there. So I said, "Well, can I see her?" And they said, "Well, first we need some papers signed up." So I signed the papers all for her, and they took me back. And the doctor says, "I don't know how she worked a full 12-hour shift for the last 3 days, drove home and turned around and got herself back here before she crashed." I said, "Well, what's wrong?" He said, "I really don't know." He said, "I got a notion what it might be," but he said, "We're going to do some tests." So I'm waiting, and I'm watching her body the whole time. She's not there. She had tears running down her cheeks. But if I talked to her, there was no response. Just like the tears were just coming out anyhow. So over the course of the events, things just kept getting darker and darker. And before it was all over, we did see miracles taking place, a number of miracles, small miracles. The fact that she got home, and we didn't realize, we just took her coming home that night for granted. She comes home always right at the exact same time. She did that night. But in that 15 minutes after she left our home, things turned around. Things that had been going on in her body that nobody knew about, but God did. He gave her the strength, however much she needed to get back to the hospital. And from there, it was out of her hands. It was out of my hands, and it was out of the doctor's hands. But by the time it was all over, without giving the whole thing away, the doctor said, "You're one lucky little girl." Absolutely. And it's like everything that built up to that, we would have normally just taken for granted.
Right.
But when I stopped and looked at each step, there was multiple small miracles happening in there that were preparing us for the one to come. And I looked at that today. If I go uptown, like this morning, I had breakfast with the guys, coffee. You see people that are sad, people that are, "Oh, I need to go home. My body hurts. It's cold. The ice is tearing me up." Never did they acknowledge the beauty of the morning, the beauty of the twilight hour. And to me, since my wife has passed, before then, I was like them. I went to work before daylight. I came home after dark. That's how life was. But since my wife's passing, I notice the twilight. I notice the midnight hours. I notice the birds feeding. I remember the first time I sat in my swing and I sat there and crying, and my wife said, "What's wrong?" I said, "I can hear the birds."
Wow.
I never did before.
Well, it's like that Christmas bell and the Polar Express. If you can hear the bell, it's because you believe.
Yep. It's like so many times we don't take time to notice the small things that are around us all of the time, not just periodically. They're always here.
Right.
It's up to us to have the eyes and heart to see them.
Yes. Oh, whew. Thank you for sharing that hard story, but we know there's a miracle there. So we'll let the
There's a big
listeners and
miracle
the
for those that
readers,
read it.
yes, and they'll discover it when they read that book because, oof, wow, that was a powerful story. Very powerful story. And your heart must have been in your throat the whole time. Mm.
As hard as it was for me to tell you about that little bit,
Mhm.
when I write, I sit with a roll of paper towel. Because even as I'm writing it, when I don't realize it and I go back and I read it, and it's like, how did I do this? How,
Right.
I can't even read the lines.
Yeah.
And I write for some grief group in our area that meets monthly.
Wow.
And they'll always say, if you can join us, you can read it. And I try to join when I can,
Mhm.
but I always tell them I can't read them.
Yeah.
I can write them, but don't ask me to read it because I can't get through them.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just, I don't know what there is. It's just, they're too real.
Yeah. Well, they're still too raw, too.
Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm. You had mentioned in one of your chapters there that your wife was instrumental. You had kind of stepped away from God, and your wife was instrumental in bringing you back, or at least that's how I interpreted that.
Yes. Yep.
Hmm.
Exactly.
You want to talk about that?
She, yep. We met as a blind date,
Oh, yeah.
and we started going to church right shortly after there. I grew up in church. My dad was a minister.
Ah, perfect. Ah.
But as I hit my teen years, I went one way and the church went the other way.
Mhm.
And it's like you never forget what you're taught growing up, even though it's pushed aside.
Yeah.
Church to her was important. And so we went to church every Sunday. I'd pick her up and we'd go to church. And after church, I'd take her to my folks for dinner, or we go to her folks for dinner. And as time went on, and I tried making ends meet to support my family and the kids and learning new stuff and changing jobs, church and God got further and further from me. I didn't I didn't have qualms about her going to church, and I would take her to church if, that was no problem for me.
Mhm.
But my heart and my head was not there.
Yeah.
And over the years, we faced, like everyone else, we faced our troubles.
Yeah.
We had health issues. We had children that, as growing up, they'd get hurt. We'd have to run them in and get them stitched up or put back together, or ourselves.
Yeah.
And we got through it. But the whole time, she never forgot it was God that was behind everything.
Mhm.
And as we got older and I seen more and more things happening, it was through her that I started paying attention again to God. And when I went to church, actually going with my mind and heart open. And it just made a huge difference in my life. Each day was different. And I don't think, had it not been for that, I would have never got through her death.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, it's as hard as it was to get that call on a Saturday morning after mowing the church for 4 hours. I mowed the lawn. I got the call to go down there. It was a 30-mile ride, roughly 45 miles from here to the hospital. And about halfway through that distance, I stopped at a traffic light. And I told about it in the To Lose a Soulmate. The music on my radio, it was as if you reached up and turned the channel. It's always on easy listening or country, and it went to gospel songs, and this was the first title that came on. I've never forgot to this day. Now I forget.
It'll come back.
Heaven Just Got Sweeter for You.
Oh,
It's like, why is this on? I looked at my radio and it still has my other station. Then the next song was There's a Party in Heaven. And I'm thinking, what is this all about? And for the next 17 miles, my mind was not on driving. It was on, why did this happen? And when I got up to the hospital, they had someone meet me and take me up to the room, which was a good thing. She had passed, evidently, when I went through that light. And that was it took me a long time to figure that out.
Yeah.
You would think that it would be a kind of a no-brainer moment, but I just could not wrap my head around it.
Mm. I'm sure the shock was just too great to think outside of that. Hmm.
Well, and my kids, when I left the house, all I did is fire a text to both on my way to the next, where the hospital was. That was all I could put down. And that gave them enough. They knew that something wasn't right. So we met later that evening and we talked about it and everything. And it's like, because of COVID, we had to leave it be. There
Oh,
was no funeral.
oh,
Not one of us three had seen her in 2 weeks. We
oh,
hadn't talked to her. We
oh,
hadn't said
that's
goodbye.
so wrong.
And to this day, you know, 6 months after the fact or better, it was like, no, I'm not going to tear everybody up again for a funeral. My wife would have understood.
Yeah.
And so we have never closed the door.
No, how could you?
No, yeah, and we can't.
No.
So we each go about our day. We depend on each other and we depend on God.
Hmm.
And we make it. We make it work.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. Wow. Oh my.
But
Yeah.
it sounds, it sounds terrible and it sounds bad. And I won't say that it doesn't hurt,
Yeah.
but yet I can still smile every day when I go outside and listen to the birds. It's winter time here, and I'll plow for half a day or better. I love to go sit in my swing in my snowsuit and just listen to the birds.
Isn't it
Sometimes,
wonderful?
oh yeah, sometimes I'll build a bonfire out there, and in the middle of winter, people look at me, they probably think, "What's wrong with this guy?" But to me, that is enjoying life
Yes.
because that's what her and I did before she ever left.
Oh.
We'd sit on that swing and we would swing
Oh.
and we'd listen to the birds.
Wow. Mm. I can so relate. We have a little couch that faces east, and to sit on that in the morning before the sun comes up and to watch, the sky get brighter and brighter and brighter, and then boom, here comes the sun over the trees, and it's just like, what's better than this? This is
It's,
just beauty. It just touches your heart.
it's a powerful moment.
It is. It is. Oh my goodness. Now, let's see. You have another chapter. Miracles are evidence of God's presence and love. I mean, you have so many miracles in your life. I am it's rather ironic that you felt you didn't have anything to share for this book. you know, but again, it's about perspective, right? I mean, we're living it.
It,
We
it,
don't often see it the way that other people do, and that's why the divine has to come through us to remind us that we
yeah,
really are doing our job. Um, what would you like to
yeah,
say about that chapter? I mean, I thought that one was a lot more poignant, in terms of specific miracles, like with your daughter, and, but there were
yeah.
other things in there too.
There was, and I'll start out by prefacing it this way, I guess. I sat for a few minutes, and after I got done writing, it's like I always kind of like to put a one-liner, if you might say, at the beginning of my stories.
Yeah.
And I thought on that one, and I came up with this. The question is not whether miracles are real. It's do we have the heart and eyes to see them?
Yeah.
That to me, that said everything right there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, and I
They,
loved how you talked about, people are naysayers, and they try to fall back on science and say, well, science doesn't prove it. Well, what's your answer to that?
and you hear that a lot.
Yeah.
But the curious thing to me is that when we're all, and not, we're all going to be there, but a lot of people have already been at those last few moments. Mm-hmm. I've heard people say there's no God. I've heard the argument there is a God. I've heard family members battle it back and forth. I've heard people on their deathbed pray, asking God to let them go. Mm-hmm. They were the same people that said there is no God. But in that last hour, where did that belief come from all of a sudden? Right. Was it the fact that they didn't believe, or was it that they just didn't want to admit that they believed?
Ooh, good question. Really good question.
You know, I mean, you hear people all the time praying, you know, thanking God for this and thanking God for that. But when I've been in the hospital room and I've heard people in that last hour, in that last bit of breath saying, please take me home. That to me is powerful, or more so than a sunrise. Yes. It's like all of a sudden, all that faith they denied, it was there all the time, but they just didn't admit it until the end. Mm-hmm. And to me, that's painful, kind of. Mm-hmm. I took a ride this past weekend. We've had sub-zero temperatures here for a couple of weeks, mm-hmm. and some snow, and I'm outside most every day, but I like to get out, and if it's cold, I like the sound of the snow on our tires.
Yeah.
And I come by this house, and I seen a dog put outside. We used to put our dog out in the winter, but we had a dog house, and we filled it full of straw and made it. This dog had nothing. And even though it looked like it might have been one of the Eskimo type dogs, I can't think what you call it. A husky, yeah. It had the colors and the curled tail. Uh-huh. When its head is burrowed in the snow, that told me its muzzle was cold. Oh. And there was, I thought, well, can I stop and put it somewhere? But there was nobody there. And it's like, I went by there and it hurt.
Yes. Absolutely.
But in that first story, I told about a lot of times as we raise our families, we wonder, as we're trying to teach the kids as they get older, are they actually hearing us? Are they understanding what we're trying to tell them? And I think it would be a special opportunity to, I'll read it to you, because if I don't, I'm not going to get through it.
I understand.
As I began my chapter in this volume of Mission Hope, I cannot help but recall the miracle of the birth of my children. How I had looked both admiringly and with concern at my wife as she lay in labor, while I waited anxiously, questioning my inner strength and ability to be the father I wanted to be, the one my children and wife needed me to be. That was just before I found the reassurance I needed and the answer to my question in the gleam of my wife's eyes and the sound of our children as they each in their own time loudly declared the miracle of their birth. Jumping ahead to the present time and seeing that same miracle taking place in my son's family with the birth of my granddaughter, I could not be prouder as a father, especially after having recently read my son's thoughts, which he jotted down on his cell phone during the night as he watched both mother and daughter resting after their first official day together. In doing so, I felt both validated and proud as a parent. As he wrote of experiencing the highest high imaginable while finding a new level of love, joy, and gratitude in the strength and grace of his beloved during childbirth. As I read his words, tears of joy and thankfulness overwhelmed me. As what I had experienced as a father with each of my children, I could proudly see in my son. With his loved ones now sitting on the same pedestal in his heart as mine have all these years in mine.
Wow. Was
It's
there
the
any?
it's
Yeah.
it's the small miracles.
Yeah. That doesn't sound so small to me, but
I mean, how many people, how easy would it is to overlook these times, you
yes,
know,
right.
and not think about, oh, yeah, we'll take our pictures and we'll hang them on the wall. But do we grasp what's really happening?
Mhm.
And to see, like with these cell phones, is fabulous. I wish when my wife was alive, we'd have had one
Yeah,
because we would have had pictures a lot more than what we do.
sure.
But with his cell phone, he was doing like I was. He was writing on his cell phone,
I know.
and he took a picture of his wife and daughter,
Oh,
and then across their picture, he wrote these words.
oh, oh,
And
beautiful.
it's like, yeah, I framed.
Oh, wow.
That was a powerful moment.
Oh, well, it answers your question of can I be the kind of father that they need? And it also affirms your goal to be the best father because he couldn't have done that had you not been the best father for him, the best example.
I often said when they were little, I wish somebody had wrote a book about how do you bring kids through this or through that.
Mhm.
And now I see books out there, but I still have my son asking me questions. Is like, how do I do this?
Yeah.
It's like we just did it.
Yeah.
You
It's
do the
true.
best you can and you work through it. And that in the end, it'll work better than if you had a book.
Yep. Yep.
And now, my daughter's watching her today, and I go down there and work around, and I go in and she can have her back to me. And as soon as she hears my voice, you'll see her start turning at the waist. And as she turns, that face starts to go into that smile,
Oh.
and she reaches her arms out. And she's not talking yet, but she sure makes the smile and the sounds.
Oh.
And so I get a hold of her, and the first thing she wants to do is sit on Papa's knee.
Oh.
And as I'm trying to keep some type of a rhythm, she's got arms and legs and hips flailing all. It's like, I just wish my wife could be here to see this. But
Absolutely.
at the same time, it's a real gift to me,
Mhm.
you know. Might be my son's daughter, but she's a gift to me.
She is. And I'm assuming your wife is there and she has
Oh
been
yeah.
there too.
Yep.
Yes,
Yep. I'm sure she's got a big old smile on her face.
absolutely. Absolutely.
But that's how these stories come about is when the thoughts start rolling through,
Hmm.
I have to write them.
Hmm. Hmm.
And there's times that maybe I have no clue how this is ever going to make any sense. But
That's,
over a period of time, they do link together.
they do. I'm laughing
You know?
because that's exactly what I've expressed over and over again. I have no idea where this is going, but I'm sure it's going someplace.
Yep, 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 yep. There's a higher power out there. I've heard Char say it over and over. There is a higher power, and everything that is happening is being directed, whether we admit it or not. I see it in our government. I
Yep.
see it in our city.
Yep.
It's all being directed.
Yep.
So for someone to say no, I just kind of smile and say, okay,
Yep.
we'll
Whatever.
see.
Yeah.
Yep, we'll see.
Uh-huh. Uh,
But I do see following for the series of Mission Hope
mhm.
growing,
Uh-huh.
and that in itself to me is a miracle
Yeah.
for one individual's thought to blossom into something this great,
Yeah.
and not shy away from the fact that, oh, maybe this writer writes about God or maybe this writer writes about this. It doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't.
I've had uncles that found God in the woods, and I feel many times when I'm in the woods, I'm as close as I am when I'm in a church. So,
Absolutely.
that has no bearing to me but the idea that no matter where we are, this series is reaching so many people, and the idea that you can do it digitally, you can read it.
Yes.
Maybe someone's having a bad day and they go for a walk, and while they're out there, they bring up that book and they read it.
Absolutely.
That's a changed person.
Yep. Yep.
Because I don't believe you can read any of the books and not be changed.
I agree. And that's
Yeah,
what people say, apparently, you know, and I said to Shart, we need like a page where people can post their experiences or their thoughts as they're reading these things, you know, and everybody can read each other's and just be inspired, you know.
exactly. Yeah.
Wow. But apparently they write to Shar or they write to other authors, you know, and I'm sure you've gotten your share too of
Yeah.
people that have just said,
Yes.
"Thank you so much. You gave me exactly what I needed."
Yeah. And I have a lot that when we have the initial uh, ebook sale,
Hmm.
right away there's people, I want one, I want one.
Yeah.
So I just, as I get their email addresses, I comment back, I'd like to hear what you have to say after you read it,
Oh, good for you.
you know,
Yes.
because that's something that if it's down, we could put it into a
Hmm.
page
Oh, yes.
so that others can see that, they're not the only ones that are getting something from this.
Right.
And the writers can see that what they are writing, whether we know what we're writing or not,
Hmm.
it is helping, is making a difference.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, it's not only your writing that you share, you are known as a digital creator, and I've seen beautiful photographs on your Facebook page. Do you want
Thank
to
you.
talk about those?
Some of them I borrow,
Oh, that's
some
interesting.
of a good portion of them I actually take myself.
Yeah, that's
But
what I was looking.
sometimes, some if I see something that catches my eye, I save it
Yeah.
just because down the road I don't know what's going to pop into my head,
Hmm.
and maybe it's something that I don't have a picture of my own of.
Right.
I'll give you an example. 2 years ago, in the summer, my daughter and I were building some 3.5, 4 foot dragonflies out of a bedpost corner and old ceiling fan parts.
Oh,
So we
wonderful.
had everything ready to paint up, and we painted them, and she had to go to work. So I'm sitting in my barn. I've got all these parts laid out on the floor drying, and I'm going through Facebook, and I seen this picture, and it's like I need that picture. I got story, and
Gotta
I
have
need
it.
that picture. I need it right now. So I looked and seen who put it on there, and I sent them a message and telling them, hey, you're going to think I'm crazy, but can I possibly use this picture? I have a story. Sure. And since then, I get regular pictures that either they mean something to them or they think that it's something that I'm going to like because they put them on Facebook, and right away it's like, yep, I'm going to grab that one. But while I was sitting there watching dry, I had this story, and that picture was the picture I needed for it.
Oh my gosh.
And I try to do a post. I used to do a morning and night both, and then during the day if I had spare minute here and there. But it seems like over time, I don't know if it's age, I get tired being out, especially in the winter, being outside all day when I come in.
Hmm.
I just don't have enough energy to keep going. So
Yeah.
I try to hit it first thing in the morning, maybe in the evening.
Mhm.
So it'll be pictures of maybe something I've seen during the day or the evening before, and
Yeah.
I'll try to share it that way. But
Nice.
there's times if we're in the middle of a blizzard, that's kind of a downer for a lot of people. So one of the pictures that someone sent me might be a beautiful picture of a nice sunrise that I could use.
Yeah.
And so I'll build off from their picture, put a one line caption like I did with this one on miracles,
Yeah.
and then go into my short story for the day.
Ah,
And it just seems to grow, and people, more and more people keep finding these posts that I put out there, and I enjoy doing it. So if it helps somebody, then I'll keep doing them.
beauty is important, you know. Hmm. You had a picture most recently of this building, and it was interesting because it had a long, almost like an elevator shaft going up.
Yes.
What was that building?
Oh, that was the paper plant in the wintertime
Oh,
across our pond.
oh my goodness.
Yes. And I don't remember the story word for word, but it was something about uh, time doesn't give anything a break. Time takes its toll on all of us, but yet there was still beauty in that old derelict building.
Absolutely. I mean, it really
And
caught your eye, you know?
there's, it's just, sometimes it makes me laugh because I sat down in the morning and I have read like a morning devotional since I was in the third grade.
Mhm.
Even if I wasn't, I always read this devotional,
Yeah.
and I'll read it now, and it's like, okay, I got nothing for Facebook. I'll start moving around the house, getting things done, getting some cleaning done before I go out, and all of a sudden it's like, oh no, I got to run out and start writing because something either that I read or something I seen out the window that morning jogged my mind enough
Yes.
that this needs to be wrote. This has got to be shared,
Mhm.
and it I think it gives me as much joy as it does maybe the people that read them.
Mhm.
And
Absolutely.
I hate to miss a time of posting for fear that they're going to think I'm sick, bored, or just not interested in doing it anymore. But there's times I'm just so tired.
Yeah.
Especially at night, summertime. I don't usually stop till 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Wow.
And there's many nights I come in. It's like I barely get my boots off, and I'm out.
I bet.
And
You're not
that
you're not
go ahead.
plowing then, so what are you doing? Are you just out in the woods and
Yeah, in the summertime, I enjoy ATV riding,
oh, okay.
and I mow 3 or 4 lawns
Uh-huh.
just
You're
just to
busy.
help people out.
Yeah.
I don't do it for pay. I enjoy mowing is something that no matter how far up I got in my line of work, if the guy that mowed the park lawns didn't show up for a day or sick,
Mhm.
that was that was great in my book. Not so much that he didn't feel well,
Right.
but I could jump on that mower. I don't have a problem running a mower 12 hours a day. I've always enjoyed mowing grass.
Wow.
There's just something to me that's relaxing about it.
Yeah.
And so in the summertime, I'm doing that, or I'm painting, or
Mhm.
just I try to stay busy.
Yeah. I don't
You
think you
know,
try. I think you are doing it.
there used
Oh
to
my
be
gosh.
something said about burning the candle at both ends. Every now and then, I gotta put it out and sit back for a while.
Oh, I think you'd go crazy if you did that. So I think whatever you're
Yeah,
doing is working for you.
yeah, yeah. I enjoy staying busy, and I enjoy visiting with people. For years I wasn't around anybody because it was either work
Yeah.
and then home with my family.
Yeah.
But there's times now that people you don't even know, that, hey, what is that book? I carry books around the back of my car, and someone will say, well, did you see this or did you write that? And it's like, no, but I've got this one, or yep, I did write that. Well, if you got copies, sure, I got copies.
Oh my gosh, isn't that just amazing?
Yeah, and Char's not gonna, Char's not gonna like this.
Oh, she's probably already doing it.
Well, yeah, and I wouldn't surprise me. She just doesn't say it. A lot of times, the books that we purchase to sell ourselves,
Yeah.
I don't sell them.
Yeah, I figured.
They go to libraries, they go to
Yeah.
schools.
Yeah.
It's
Whoever needs
if I see
them.
whoever needs it, and you
Yeah.
can tell the people that are really keen and interested in, they need what's in that book.
Hmm.
It's like I couldn't give them to them fast enough,
Yeah.
and this the same with the bookstore.
Yeah.
It's like I'm not out to make a big dollar. I want the information out there.
Absolutely.
And that's to me, that's the most important part of it.
Absolutely. And
Mm.
I think there's a number of people that do that,
I
especially in the
wouldn't I
mission
wouldn't be
folks.
surprised.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. It's because it's about the message,
Yep.
that's the most important thing. And then the next most important thing is that we are the deliverers, because it's come through us, so it's our obligation to keep that message flowing and not just hold on to it ourselves, right?
Well, in this venue of Mission Hope,
Hmm.
I don't know how many realize the blessing that it is in itself.
Hmm.
If I were to write a book and go get it published, I know the cost of publishing books.
Yep.
We don't have that cost involved near that like that
Right.
through Mission Hope, but
Right.
we can still get the message out.
Right.
So to me, it's not about building a library of books I've published.
Right.
It's about how many people did I help with what words did come to me. And I'm fine with that. I'm happy, matter of fact.
Absolutely. And what's amazing is that I think that's true. I haven't met all of the authors yet, but I think that is true of probably every one of them, at least the ones
Mm.
that I've met so far. You know, and it's like all different walks of life, and yet each of you are so unique and empowering and impactful in your areas of expertise. It's astounding to me, and every one of you is so like modest about it. It is a
It's a gift.
phenomenal group. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a gift.
Yeah.
And you know, we've had some group meetings over the time
Hmm.
where we can actually, with the use of Zoom, meet each other and talk to each other.
Yeah.
And to me, I love those
Oh yeah.
because you see that we are no different.
Right.
We come from all different areas of the world, but we're no different.
Yep.
We all have the same questions, the same fears,
Hmm.
but the message we put out is very similar.
Hmm.
And I think that is so interesting.
Yeah.
You know,
It's fascinating. It really is
it is.
amazing.
Yep.
Hmm. Well, that's what happens when you follow your divine inspiration, and that's what she did. You know, this whole Mission Hope series has been her divine inspiration and, you know, answering the question, how can I make the world a better place? And so here it is in a nutshell. And for each of us, I think, you know, that is our burning question as well. How can we make a difference here? How can we make it a better place? And so this has given all of us like that venue and a voice in as one way to make that difference. Yeah.
Well, and it also goes to show that it's not always about throwing big money after something.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know, I mean, because to me, when I see that happen, it usually is discounted to the point where what really came out of it.
Right.
But when somebody is interested and they have a yearning to write and put out a message, even though they may not know what it is,
Hmm.
but yet the other person has that same yearning to read it and dig into it,
Hmm.
that to me is more impactful.
Hmm. Yeah.
And when I look at this group of writers, that's what I see. Is yep, we're all different. We all come from different areas,
Yeah.
but that portion of impactfulness is embedded in each of us,
Yeah.
and it draws us together. Shar connected everybody maybe, but there was divine guidance on her doing that.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
And knowing Dominic, who is the
Yeah.
perfect publisher to do this, because he's
Yep.
got a quick turnaround. I mean, you know, 3 months. That's pretty
Well,
amazing.
he's got a quick turnaround, but he also, and he doesn't talk about it a whole lot, but if you follow his posts, you'll see it.
Yeah,
He's he's helping in his way the same as everyone else is in theirs.
that's
You
right.
know,
That's right.
he's pretty humble about it, but he's doing it.
Yeah.
And to me, that's what life is all about. You know,
Yep.
when you can do that and it just makes life sweeter, I would say.
I would say so too. That's a perfect note to end on. I just
With
want to thank you so much, Mike. This has been so inspiring, you know, and I'm sure that the listeners are feeling the same way. I'm just sitting here going, wow, this is just amazing. And you have been just a vision of inspiring hope to so many people who are hurting. So thank you for following your call and being who you are. And I want to thank our listeners, those who are listening live and those who are catching the replay, for being part of this and appreciating the divine inspiration that works through all of us. And may you, the listeners, find that within yourself to be able to express it and take divine action on that as well. That's what makes the world a better place. All right. Next week, we are going to be hearing from Eleanor Stutz, which another amazing individual, humble, modest, and highly impactful in the world. So I can't wait to introduce you, listeners, to her. Thank you again, Mike, and namaste.
Thank you.